Okay, we're back and we're going to start up with some doors and windows for this last little section of polygon modeling before we get into NURBS. So I've got two doorways here. They're the same size. One door, duplicate it, and then I'll have to figure out something for this window. So create poly primitive, just grab a cube and I'm going to pull it over, move tool. It's got whatever settings I had in there before. So let's go to the input history and I'll change the height to 180 and the width to 60. Actually, the width to 5. Depth to 60, about right. And let's see, front view to start. F9 for vertex mode. Marquee select, I get all 4 vertices on the bottom. There we go. Just a little space under the door. And here we go. I know this line is the top of my doorway. Little space there. Checking it. Marquee select. Scale it. And then I'll grab the ones on these side and move them over. Okay. And I want the pivot for the door to be in the lower corner, so F8 for object mode. To get into the pivot, we hold down D, and you can see that the manipulator tool suddenly changes to this, and then I hold down V to snap, and I grab it from the center, and I snap it to the door. Now if I go to rotate, E to rotate, there's the door, and I can keyframe or whatever, not doing any of that just yet. Right now it's a really boring door. Let's give it a little bit of personality. Pretty standard, nice door. We'll have some sort of paneling. So let's do that. To do that, we're going to go to face mode, select the face right there on the center, edit mesh, extrude, and R to scale. And I'm going to make this the top panel. Slide it up. Grab this edge, pull it down. That looks about good, and then there'll be 2 lower panels below for a pretty typical door, something like that. So I'll go back to face mode, F11, grab this face, and G to repeat the extrusion. Push it down, push it, G to repeat, scale it in, which would be the same as the offset. Make it so that I like how it looks. There we go. And G to repeat the extrusion. Scale it in for the offset. And now I'm going to pull it back out. I want to check it in my front view since this door is sideways to us. I want the door panel not to go out past the door. It looks like I'm spot on. Wow. Nicely done. And I'll scale it down just a teeny bit more. And then insert an edge loop here. Push it down a bit. This is just going to make it a little bit curvy there, the way doors tend to have that panel curve. Now, if I hit the smooth preview, whoa, not cool. So hit 1, and we'll throw some edge loops in, at least to this panel that we just made. Actually, we're going to do all that reinforcement after we do the other 2 panels. I'm going to want to cut my door in half. So mesh tools, insert edge loop, and I'm going to put this right about the center of the door. Looks like right about there. F11, and I'm going to delete all the faces. Q to get out of edge loop tool. Then I can go to face mode and delete all the faces on that side. Okay, so that way I only have to make half the door and the other half will take care of itself. Okay, so after I delete the other half of the door, I want to figure out where this panel is going to be. I want this part to come down straight down, and that means this edge is really going to get in the way, so I'm going to delete it. Use the multi-cut tool to anchor it. Over here, there we go. And then come around to the other side and out, just so it's complete. F10, Q to get out of that tool. I want to select the whole edge loop, scale it flat. Looks like I don't want this one. There we go, that's what I want. Do I have anything I don't want there? Nope. Okay, that is what I'm going to scale flat. Although, obviously I got something else in that selection. There we go. Okay, now I have this nice clean face here to set up this panel in. And so, recent commands, poly extrude, R to scale. And let's see, I'll pull that up a little. Scale that in. Try to get those to line up pretty nicely. I can check it in my top view. Or my side view. Yeah, it looks like that's bottom to top lined up pretty well there. Okay. And then we extrude it in. Now this time I can just hold down the shift key and pull it in. Those look pretty well aligned. In terms of the amount of depth in, maybe a hair less, there we go. G to extrude again, R to scale. Come on out. G to extrude. Get that to match up, and I can see in the top view, boom, right there. Okay. And then scale it in, make it proportionate, and try to match this one. I can see I'm about the same distance here, but my extrusion up is much more. There we go, about like that. And mesh tools, insert edge loop, get that one that's going to give me the curve that I want. Q to select, and push it in so that I get that little bit of rounding. Okay. So before I add my edge loops, I'm going to get rid of this backside too, because I want these panels on both sides of the door. So I'm going to mirror in two directions. And oh yeah, there's plenty of space, so I can grab these vertices on the backside. Where'd my door go? There it is. Grab the vertices on the top back and the bottom back. What's here in the middle? Just this one? Okay. That way the door won't have quite the same thickness. Won't look too bizarro. There we go. So before I want to mirror so I get these panels on all sides of the door, I want to add in my edge loops to support it so it doesn't deform too much in the smooth. I want it to hold its rectilinear shape. So, mesh tool, insert edge loop. Okay, that one's going to have that. Interesting that that's going to stop there. This one's going to do the same. This will take us all around, all around, all around, all around. We're going to need these. And these. Okay, so this bottom part's doing a nice job now of holding its shape. Top one, obviously, needs a lot of love. So, let's keep going. Let's get these guys. That'll hold that in place. Hold that in place. Come on up and hold that one. Interesting. That one. And just wherever there's an edge that I want to stay strong, I add those edge loops. Get this one up here. I don't have to worry about the one at the middle because that's going to be mirrored. And now when I go to 3, top part looks great. The bottom part looks okay, but it's dealing with those n-gons. So I'm going to quickly clean those up. So for whatever reason, this dead ended in this top face. Not sure where it wanted to go from there. Okay, so we're going to fix that with a multi-cut tool. Mesh tools, multi-cut. Hit here. Hit. Whoop, I don't like how that one ended. Right there, that's what I want. Enter to get out. And then we come up and hit enter to complete that tool. Here we go. Enter to complete up here. Okay, so that upper part is all set, but the weirdness, Q to get out of my multi-cut tool, the weirdness is coming from these guys. Where do I actually need them, and where do I need them to stop? So I don't need it from here to here. So I'm going to say, so I hover over the selected line, hold down shift, right click, delete edge. Click on this one, shift double click to get the edge that far, shift right click, delete edge, and get the third one, shift delete edge. And let's have some fun cleaning these up. Snap that. Snap that. F to frame what I'm looking at. Marquee select them all. Edit mesh. Merge. There we go. Triangle, triangle. So delete that edge. It turns into a quad. And that's still tight enough in edge. If I really want that tighter, I can grab those interior edges, pull them in, and that'll tighten up that edge. Don't think it really matters. Grab this vertex, shift it over, use the multi-cut tool, recent commands, multi-cut, pop and slide it in. That triangle in the door won't hurt anything. So F8 and 3, clear my selection. Nice. We've got some really nice paneling here. Maybe a little deep compared to the stuff you usually see around. But it looks cool. Whenever you can put paneling in like that, it just adds so much detail and interest to the eye. You always want to do it. So I'm going to mirror this over. I look at my little axis down here, my little compass rose, and I can see that the front of the door is lined up with the blue line, the z-axis. So I want to mirror this in z, and I want to mirror it to this direction, which is going to be the opposite of the blue line, so that'll be negative z. So I say mesh, mirror, options box, option, or object, negative z, apply. And I got the other part way over there. And the reason for that is I moved the pivot down here a little while ago. So I'm going to move the pivot right to this corner of the door, or the door that's left. So D to get into pivot mode and V to snap. And there it is, snapped right there. I hit apply again, and miraculously, or not miraculously, by design, the panel door is right there where I want it. I'm going to pull it out of the frame. Actually, first I'm going to freeze it, modify freeze transformations, and that zeroes it out in the channel box here. Oh, but my pivot is here now, so let's snap it. Okay. Looks like my modify center pivot. There we go. Pivot is in the center of the door. It is frozen. So now I can pull it out here, and when I want it to go back, all I have to do is zero it out. So we use freeze transformations to zero something out, so we can zero it back out to the place we want it to be. I just want to see if two of these is if it's too thick, if it's twice that thickness, and it kind of is. That's kind of too thick of a door. So get rid of that duplicate. Actually, okay, now I'm going to duplicate it. Control D. And I am going to go to rough mode, F11, and I want to select this ring of faces first. There we go. And I'm going to delete it. And I think now that'll be about what I want. So rather than mirroring it, I'm duplicating it. And then I want to mirror it in X. I want to flip it in X. So scale X -1. When you multiply something by -1, you get its opposite. There it is, -1. I have the opposite in the X dimension. And I'll slide that in. Okay, looks about right to me. Let's check this in my top view. Close that panel. I want these two border edges right on top of each other. There we go. And now, I want to make sure the panels aren't poking through each other. Nope, they're fine. so I can combine them. Mesh, combine to combine two separate objects. And I'll go back to my top view. And here's these border edges. So let's go to vertex mode. And I want to select any vertices along those border edges. I don't think there's any there. They're not on it. It really should just be all those. Edit mesh. Merge. I'm going to set my threshold to 0.001. Didn't get anything. Let's try 0.01. I got some of them. Let's see if we can get at 0.05. Nope. Let's okay. So I can see the real problem there is I've accidentally merged some of those that I don't want to merge. 0.02. Nope. Go back to 0.001. 001. And that's not fixing that. I'm going to undo. I'm going to freeze that as I try and solve this. Okay, so for whatever reason, this got merged at some point. Quick test. If I pick walk over, those two are merged. This one is not. That's a really weird mess. So I might as well commit to merging those. Edit mesh. Merge. We're all one. What's going on up here? 2. G to repeat the merge. They're at 1. So obviously I'm going to have to do that for these guys. I've got 3 selected. F to just make sure I focus on them. R. I'm going to scale them together. Don't know why this happened. This is weird, but just the sort of thing you have to fix sometimes. And the key is, if I want them to merge, I have to have equal number of vertices here. So when I had 3 on this one and only 1 here, it wasn't going to work. So do the same with these 3. R to scale them in. Recent commands merge. And now I have just the ones in that spot selected. Recent commands merge. And they are 2. And they're separate objects because I undid it past where I combine. So marquee select them both. So I go to mesh, combine. And now I should be able to merge that, no problem. Recent commands, polymerge. Get these guys, G to repeat. Oh, and that one, G to repeat. Where else? G to repeat. Do I have any here? I have 3 there. G to repeat. Or do I? Okay, doing each set separately. It automatically does any 2 at a time. Just zooming down, making sure I don't have any more vertices. Shouldn't have any until I get to the bottom. Yep, there they are. F to focus in. Grab these two. G to repeat. These two. G to repeat. G to repeat. That says there's 4 right there. Or do I have something else selected? Okay, I had something else selected. Come on to this trouble spot. I think I have it fixed, and yes. Yeah, you can see the border edges disappear as I merge the vertices on the border edge. G to repeat. I missed that one. G to repeat, and that border edge is no longer a border. So they are successfully merged. Here at the middle, F to focus on it. Where are they? There's 2. G to repeat. G to repeat. G to repeat, and I can tell I missed something down here because that border edge didn't go away when I expected it to. So zippity zip zip, scroll back down, try and figure out where something got away from me. Must have been this guy. G to repeat, boom, yep, that was it. No more border edge. I think I can safely jump up here. G to repeat, nailed it. G to repeat. G to repeat, and the border edge is gone. My door's not too thick. It's got a nice weight to it, but isn't ridiculous. My world's upside down. There we go. Turn it right side up. Object mode, F8. W. Squash it into place. Oh yeah, because I combined it, I lost the transform node that I could zero it out. So now I'll zero it out. Modify, freeze transformations. Now it's locked into here. And I'm going to want the pivot down here so the door will open this way. DV. There we go. And now when I rotate the door, it opens this way into the room. Save my work and move tool, shift to duplicate it. Check it in the top view. I want it right kind of in the middle of that wall. There's the wall, and there's the middle. Good. So now I have 2 doors in my room. Time for a window. First, we need a frame to hold the glass. So I'm going to use another pipe. My window runs from about 90 to 340. So about 230. Create poly pipe. Options box. Ballparking it in. How high do I want it? Only about 5 thickness. I'll try 5. That's probably going to change. Again, 4 divisions. Hit apply. Close that. I'm going to rotate it 45 in X because I know that that's got to be done. And then I think 90 in Z. Nope. 90 in X. Okay, this is 90 in Z. 45 in Z. 45 in Z. There we go. And let's move that. So it's coming into my window. Check it in the top view. Set it into the wall. pretty well set up over here. I'm going to go to edge mode, or vertex mode rather, grab these vertices, slam them over to here, and grab these guys and lift them up till I've reached the top of the window. I believe that's it. Okay, it's in place. A little off when I check it in perspective. And then needs more thickness, so I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to try thickness of 8. Yeah, that looks a little better for a solid frame for a piece of glass that size. And I'm going to create a cube for my window that's going to go in there. Create polyprimitive cube. And let's see, I want to just snap it. And boy, do I not want that particular shape. Oops, go back to perspective. Line up that window a little better. Now this depth, let's try 1. Yeah, glass a centimeter thick. That doesn't seem crazy. Roughly center that, get it close. Actually, before I do, I'm going to add some edge loops. Width and height over here in creation. And what that's going to do is just make it easier to select the window later on. Don't need it for the shape, but it's really hard to select a cube with no subdivisions when you've stuck the edges into the wall when you're in smooth shaded, or rather when you're in wireframe. So wireframe, I can easily select it by those. Doesn't matter, the glass is totally interpenetrating into the wall. Nobody will ever see that. And I can see I'm not actually in my frame, so check it in the top view. There's my frame. Let's see how I'm doing here. I think my frame should be a little thicker. That's just going to make it easier to seat the glass in it. And the interior of that room is coming along nicely. There we go. Doors and window. See you in the next video.